Hey guys, I just want to take a second to talk about how we're going to be doing our map activities this year. All right. Now, I know we talked about this in class, but just quickly to review, on a Monday or at the start of a week, I will give you a blank map with a bunch of countries on it, and your homework is to label that map and color it in. We will go over it on Thursday or at the end of the week, and then the following week, there will be a quiz on that map. All right. Now, I will provide paper maps to people in class, but I want to provide a digital option for people who don't want to be handling papers and for the cyber classes. All right. Now, cyber classes, you are more than welcome to print the the map out, complete it by hand, and then take a picture and upload that if you like. That's fine with me. But I do want to show you guys the digital option if you choose to do it that way. All right. So we're going to do it through Google Classroom. And the reason why I did this is because I'll show you. First of all, it'll pop up here in the stream. But even better is if you go to classwork, I'm always going to label it with a geography topic. So it'll pop up over here and you can always find it again if you need to. And I just like that ability to organize things. I feel like it's going to be like we have a notebook or a binder with little tabs on it. So again, if you ever need to find it, it'll just be trying to figure out which way I should point so that you can see over here on the left sidebar. All right, so if you click on the North America map activity, I have some instructions for you. It says, please complete the following map activity by labeling and coloring all of the countries listed. For some countries, it may help to zoom in, and I'll show you why in a minute. So for each country, and this is whether you're doing it by hand or on the computer, you need to color it in, you need to label it, and in a situation where you can't label it inside the country where it's not clear, you're going to need to put a line connecting the name of the country to the country itself. And if you're doing a digital version, or even if you're doing a paper version, as much as you can color coordinate, the better, because visually it'll just be a lot easier to follow. All right. So we are going to click on the map activity, and then you're going to open with Kami. So if you look at our map of North America, if you were to count all these, you'll see 16 countries. That means that this map is worth 16 points. I give you 1 point for every country. Now, when you have your quiz next week, it's going to be worth 17 points because the region, in this case, North America, that's going to be one of the questions on the quiz. All right. And remember, spelling does count for half a point. So if you have a country correct, but you spell it incorrectly, you lose half a point on that particular question. Okay. So let's get started. Let's start with the United States of America, because I feel like that's one we should all know. Now, I'm going to show you sort of, because I've played with this quite a bit, I'm going to show you the tools that I like for this and the ones that I found work the best. But the only way you're going to decide what works for you and what you're comfortable with is, playing with them. So please take some time to do that. So if you go to the drawing tool, this is what kind of lets you color. So go to the drawing tool, pick a color, it doesn't matter. And then the stroke thickness has to do with like the brush stroke, basically. So the United States is pretty big, so I'm going to choose the biggest one for this. And then the transparency, that's how well you can see through a color. So I still want to be able to see the borders pretty well, especially because it's almost impossible to stay within the lines here. So I'm going to make this pretty transparent. So maybe towards the bottom somewhere. And I've got my color selected. So let's do the United States. I'm going to come around the West Coast to then the southwestern states, down to Texas, the Gulf Coast, Florida, up the East Coast, up to New England and Maine, around the Great Lakes, and then our northern states, and end up in Washington State. And then just kind of color it in the best you can. It's actually kind of therapeutic. There we go. So we got a little sloppy. We went out of the lines in a couple places, but you get the idea. And then let's not forget Alaska and Hawaii are two non-contiguous states. And I think we got it all. So I want to create a text box, and I'm going to write the United States of America. Now, for some reason, my text is already green. It really doesn't matter as long as you can read it. If you're able to put the text right inside of a country, I don't care what color it is because that's a clear label. All right. Now let's do Mexico, just because that's another one that I think we all know. So I'll go to my drawing tool. I'm going to keep the large stroke and I'm going to keep the transparency where it's at. But now I'm going to choose a contrasting color because they're going to be right up against each other. And I'm going to color in Mexico all the way down here towards Central America, the Yucatan Peninsula, and then along the United States southern border. And that's pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but you get the idea at least. Then we need another text box. So Mexico. And then I'm going to put that one right over here. Now, again, I really don't care that it's green because it's clearly identifying Mexico. But if that bothers you, go ahead and change it. Okay. Now, let's get into some of these smaller states, countries, excuse me. So to do that, we probably want to zoom in a little bit. Now, you can scroll and you can zoom. But if you want to be able to really move this thing around, you're going to want to pick up your hand tool and don't pick up don't put it right on top of something because you'll actually be able to move whatever it is you're selecting. But if you kind of go into the gray space or someplace on the page, you can move everything around. So let's move it out of the way. And I want to do Panama. Now, if you're not really sure what these countries are, I don't expect you to know. So open up another tab with Google Maps or Google Earth and find the area that you're talking about and zoom way in. And I notice that here's South America, and then I've got Panama, which goes into Costa Rica, which goes into Nicaragua, which is kind of like a triangular shaped country. So if I come back to my map, Panama, Costa Rica, which is really small and kind of hard to see there. And then there's that triangular looking Nicaragua. So let's pick up our drawing tool. Maybe I'll go with teal this time. Now it's tiny, so I don't need such a big stroke thickness. I'll take it down to maybe 1 here. And then you kind of come in and just color in the lines. You know what? I could probably even go a little bit thicker there now that I'm into the job. Yeah, that's better. All right. So there's Panama. Not perfect at all, but you get the idea. And then I need a text box so I can write Panama. Pull it down here. Now, they don't seem to have a teal colored text, but that's okay. If I go blue, that's pretty close. And then I'm going to go to shapes because if I put Panama here, that's just going to get messy and confusing. So I'm going to pull it out of the way and I'm going to go to shapes and I'm going to pick up a line, get a matching color. And whoa, let's undo that. I need to change my thickness. Let's go to 2. It'll be thick enough to see, but not so crazy that it takes up the whole page again. All right, so we've got Panama labeled. Let's do Costa Rica. So I'm going to draw, and I want a new color. How about if we go with red this time? Let's see, 2 stroke thickness. That's probably fine. And then I just kind of color it in here. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. Text box. Costa Rica. Now it's blue. I don't want to get confused. So how about if I just make it red so that I'm staying consistent with things? And then I need a line. So I pick up my line. We'll make it red. Click and drag. So it's not perfect, but I think it does the job. Now we have labeled 4 countries. But me, I like to have a to-do list. I like to see what I've done. I like to see what I have left. So you could do this a number of ways. You can use your highlighting tool if you want to. You could use just your drawing tool that you've been using, your line tool if you want to. It's really up to you. But we've done the United States of America, so I'll cross that out. We've done Panama, we've done Nicaragua, and we've done Mexico. I just lied. We have not done Nicaragua. So I can actually pick this up. I can select it and I can delete it. Now what I have done is Costa Rica. So I'll cross that off. So now I have a map that's coming along pretty nicely. So when I'm all done, you're going to see a turn in button up here. You just click on that and it's going to turn it in right into Google Classroom for me so I can see it. Unless you're doing a paper copy, in which case we'll look at that. Or if you're at home, cyber, and you print it out and do a paper copy, you can take a picture and upload it. Lots of options. I just want it to be easy for you, and I want you to become familiar with where some of these places are. All right. So this will be your first map. Keep going with it. And when you're all done, turn it in and then start studying it for your quiz, which will be next week. Okay. If you go to Canvas and you go to this week's modules, you'll see that I'm putting a map practice game. It's called Lizard Point. And when you click on it, it'll open up a blank map of the United States and it'll ask you where countries are. And you just kind of click and try to identify them all. I promise you, years of experience, I can promise you that students who practice with Lizard Point always do very well on this quiz. So it is foolproof. All right. Good luck. If you need help with anything, just email me and let me know. Bye.